In breaking news, former Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce is set to be hauled in front of a Senate inquiry to detail the free upgrades he gave his mate Anthony Albanese. This has become a massive scandal. Albanese personally requesting 22 free upgrades, including on a flight with his son from Sydney to Rome. That gift around $10,000. Collectively, the 22 free upgrades would be worth tens of thousands of dollars. These special privileges were given to the PM dating back to his time as Transport Minister in the Rudd and Gillard governments. And it leads to questions about the decisions he's made over the years that benefited Qantas over rival airlines. Journalist Joe Aston has exposed a web of influence, alleging that Alan Joyce was basically Albanese's personal travel agent.
When the man regulating your own industry, deciding which airlines can fly into Australia and how often, if he wants a free upgrade, what are you going to do? If Anthony Albanese had called the CEO of Westpac or ANZ and said, could you please put $50,000 in my account, would that be okay? I mean, we have this weird thing where if you ask for a flight upgrade, it's not a bribe, or it can't be perceived as a potential conflict of interest.
But there's a financial value to it.
Absolutely.
That's an excellent point. And Joe Aston will be on my show tomorrow night. Now, Nationals leader in the Senate, Bridget McKenzie, told me today that given this new information, she's now investigating recalling Alan Joyce to the Senate inquiry to answer questions about these revelations. The accusation is that Albanese may have put his own interests ahead of Australia's interests. He's denied rival international airlines more flights into Australia, but this would have brought down airfares. Joyce has become one of the most disliked executives in corporate Australia. As you know, he supported The Voice, with Qantas giving around $370,000. And as you recall, Alan Joyce held this press conference alongside Albanese.
We know that this will make a big difference and a step in the right direction for reconciliation in this country. So now can I call on the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, to say a few words. Thank you.
While Alan Joyce was supporting his mate's pet project, we all had no idea just how cosy their relationship was. Now, Qantas offers Chairman's Lounge membership to all politicians, to judges, executives, celebrities and senior public servants. But Albanese had special access. Joyce organised for his son to have Chairman's Lounge access, a gift that Albanese reportedly didn't declare in the pecuniary interest register. Joe Aston says, I'm not saying now that there is an established causation between Albanese getting a chairman's membership for his son and Qatar Airways, for example, being blocked from flying more frequently into Australia. But what it does do is raise a lot of questions. Now, Albanese, at first, refused to take questions about all of this on Saturday. He only wanted international questions. And then he quickly ended his press conference. And then yesterday, he just couldn't avoid speaking about it because it has become a major political issue. Instead, he played the victim. He claimed his family was being targeted.
I think that people's families shouldn't be the subject of targeting.
Well, that's just nonsense. This is a public interest story. As I said, Joe Aston will be on the show tomorrow. But it's like Groundhog Day, with Labor ministers having to defend the Prime Minister yet again. First over his clifftop mansion, now over flight upgrades.
Well, let's go to the heart of the matter. Has the Prime Minister complied diligently, transparently, consistently about declaring any upgrades? Yes, he has. And I know from personal experience that the Prime Minister is a fundamental believer in transparency.
It's appropriate that the arrangements are robust I know that the Prime Minister was asked about this, I think, multiple times yesterday in his press conference. I don't have anything to add to it.
I don't think it's any surprise that in the role of Transport and Infrastructure Minister you'd be travelling a lot.
Coalition MPs weren't buying these excuses, and Peter Dutton said Albanese had questions to answer.
Sometimes there are oversights and the rest of it, there's human error involved, but when you're talking about having a personal phone call to ask for an upgrade as the Transport Minister or the Shadow Transport Minister, I presume the Prime Minister is going to answer questions about that. I mean, strange arrangements when you can pick the phone up to the CEO and ask as the Transport Minister for an upgrade.
This is all a question of integrity. Most Australians struggle to afford even an economy airfare. They'd never be able to afford the luxury of business class. It's out of our reach. Can Albanese truly be impartial when it comes to making decisions about Qantas when he's been getting tens of thousands of dollars worth of free upgrades to business class? The revelation puts the decisions he made as Transport Minister and as Prime Minister under a cloud. And aside from the integrity issues, which are the most important, but aside from the integrity issues, this revelation is also politically lethal. Albanese took care to curate a self-image of a Housing Commission boy who made it. But now the perception is cementing of a long-term Polly enjoying the perks of public office. Former Labor State Secretary Cameron Milner, he's going to be on my show tonight, and he writes in The Nightly that Albanese would have voters believe that 28 years of being in Parliament brings judgment and experience. But instead, Albanese looks like he's been wallowing in the freebies, all while sucking down hard on the teat of the taxpayer. Free Taylor Swift tickets, free grand final tickets, free flight upgrades. That's before he had access to his own plane, which he's dubbed Toto 1 after his dog. And now also a clifftop mansion where $100 million of taxpayer funds will upgrade the road that leads to it. If this all sounds bad to us, imagine how Labor members are reacting to the revelations, along with families who are truly struggling to survive in this cost of living crisis. It's no wonder that Labor MPs have had enough of the embarrassing headlines their largesse-loving leader is bringing on the party.